Welcome back to the show. Very interesting. Bill Whatcott. I bet you $1 you've never heard of him before. Bet you $1 you've never heard from him before, because people like him make the mainstream media uncomfortable, not just because he's anti-gay and anti-abortion, I mean, a number of people are, but because he forces liberals to own up to whether or not they're really in favor of free speech, or just free speech for liberal ideas. Joining me today is our human rights and diversity consultant for The Source, Kathy Shaidle. Thanks for being here.
Great to be here.
I'm glad you're here because Bill Whatcott is doing something, actually it's being done to him, but the fact that he's not bowing down, he could actually save all of us. And here's what I mean. When I was prosecuted in Alberta for 900 days for publishing the cartoons, after I gave a public relations drubbing to the Human Rights Commission, they dropped the case and walked away. But in Saskatchewan, the Human Rights Commission is so stupid that they're appealing the case to the Supreme Court. Right. And if they lose in the Supreme Court, that ruling will basically neuter every Human Rights Commission in Canada. What do you think of that? It's
amazing. And I think it's next month, so we'll all be anxious to see how that turns out.
Now, no one can predict what a court will do. But as Bill Whatcott carefully pointed out, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Beverly McLaughlin, she is a free speech libertarian. Forget about what she says about other issues. On free speech, she's been very strong.
Yes.
21 years ago, she wrote the dissenting ruling on a free speech matter, and now she's the boss. You know, no one can make a prediction with any substance, with any basis, but I predict Whatcott's going to win. What do you think?
I think that would be great. I realize there are a lot of people out there who find people like Bill Whatcott annoying. I find people like Bill Whatcott kind of annoying too, and I agree with a lot of what he says. I don't necessarily like his tactics, but as somebody in a documentary about him has pointed out, who does not go along with his ideas.
We've got the trailer to that documentary.
Exactly.
What's the name of the documentary? You watched it.
It's called, it's a play on words about free speech, and it's about Whatcott and what's up with that.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. And one of his critics says, look, it could be me next. I'm a journalist. I don't like the idea of the government saying what you can and can't say, and I don't like Bill, and it's interesting.
I mean, I asked him if he'd ever gotten into fisticuffs or ever hurt anybody, and he said no. He said he's been hit. I totally believe that.
Yes.
And you know what? A guy who's delivered over 100,000 flyers by his own testimony, he's gonna meet people who don't like him one bit and probably smack him. What's disappointing to me is that he says that EGAL, the gay rights lobby, that should know better, is joining the appeal against him, wanting to censor him. Surely gay rights activists have not forgotten that it was a mere 25 years ago that gay erotica, for example, was being banned by customs. I'm pleased to hear that the Civil Liberties Association, which is a left-wing group, is appealing on his behalf, so give them credit where it's due. This is very political, isn't it? It sounds like there's going to be about 20 lawyers in the room there.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a little surprised to hear about EGAL, too. This is the first I've heard about it because, as you know, a few years ago, they said, they came to your defense and said we could be next, and this has happened to us. It is unfortunate. You know, it's interesting when you watch the movie about Whatcott, not only do you not really know what side the filmmakers are on until the very end when it becomes kind of obvious, but there are gay people who are debating this in his community. There are journalists who are quite against him and really do want him silenced. They find him annoying. There are people who are gay who reluctantly support him. I don't really know what happened to change EGAL's mind, if that's what happened, but it is disappointing because they should know, of all people, having magazines and things like that notoriously stopped at the border. They could be next. They could be silenced too.
You know, let me read just one sentence from the Saskatchewan Court of Appeal that sided with Whatcott. It's that ruling that's being appealed here. This is from Justice Darla Hunter. She says, it is acceptable in a democracy for individuals to comment on the morality of another's behavior. Anything that limits debate on the morality of behavior is an intrusion on the right to freedom of expression. And this is what I would say to my left-wing friends, and I do have one or two of them. If you think it's okay to censor Bill Whatcott just because he says things you don't want to hear, well, I bet you there's more Canadians who find some gay rights politics offensive to their ears too. And what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Lawyers call that precedent. And the precedent that this irritating man will set at the Supreme Court, every one of us will be bound by. And so I think you're spot on, and I think the Civil Liberties Association is spot on. You have to stand up for freedom, even for those with whom you disagree, if you want it for yourself. Final word to you, Kathy.
Well, one of the items that he's being prosecuted over is, without comment, a photocopy of an ad that appeared in a gay newspaper, written by gay people, run in a gay newspaper. It doesn't even say this is baloney. He just handed out what they had said. That's the amazing irony of this.
It's crazy that such a thing would be against the law in this country. There's ways to deal with Bill Whatcott if you don't like him. Ignore him. Debate him. Don't stick the law on him. Kathy Shaidle, our diversity consultant, thanks for being here. Hey,